Is President Trump or the administration, do they have any plans to intervene in the extradition process for the Tate brothers?
No, we've already answered that question.
The Tate brothers are apparently at points being starved in prison right now, and their lawyer also confirmed they will be facing up to 100 years in the UK.
They threatened him with 100 years in jail.
Andrew Tate's lawyer is not happy at all with Donald Trump after it's been confirmed by his press secretary now that he is not intervening whatsoever with the extradition to the UK. So Joe McBride, the Andrew Tate lawyer, said those who speak out against injustice in real time often suffer greatly for it. Even so, the penalty for speaking out in this life is far less than a penalty of staying silent for the next. Nothing rings louder than the cowardly voice of silence, trying to pressure Donald Trump to help here, and he put on the screen the allegations that Donald Trump faced himself, and has shared videos widely of Andrew Tate supporting. One thing I will say about tweets like this is you need a lawyer that's passionate about your case, and he has that in abundance, and Tate has supported Donald Trump. But one thing you don't want to do is start talking about being cowardly and bringing up Trump's allegations. You don't want to make Trump your enemy. I think Trump right now has a neutral view on this where he doesn't really care. Let the legal process just play out is what he's thinking. But you don't want him on the other side of that where saying Tate is the enemy, he's calling me a coward and bringing up my past. Trump will go from being someone you thought was supported you to the enemy. Obviously, another person that could make a decision from a political point of view, Secretary of State, he didn't give a definitive answer, whereas Trump's actual secretary has said they're not intervening whatsoever.
Be reviewed in that context.
One of the Tate brothers' lawyers mentioned you by name. I know one of the Tate brothers' lawyers mentioned you by name. Do you have a plan to get involved with the extradition challenge that they have been?
Mention me by name?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Joe also said, look at how the MSM stir up controversy. Today they told the secretary, a lawyer for the Tate brothers mentioned you by name, clearly insinuating that I name dropped him. What actually happened 2 days ago? Do you think he will get involved? And he said he's a member of the executive branch and we're litigating extradition in Florida's Southern District. We're confident we can win in the court on the merits and we need to let the court process play out. Nice try, MSM. Not only that, Andrew Tate's lawyer also explained on the interview now the plan that the UK are going to have for Andrew Tate once they get them over there.
And this is the plan. They get them to the United Kingdom, they threaten them with 100 years in jail, or they say you can have a plea offer for maybe 2 to 5. You'll be out in a year and a half or 2 years. If they take that deal, they lose all their wealth, they lose their reputation, and by the way, the allegations never have to get proven in court because they admit that they're guilty. Governments force pleas from people all the time. That's what they want to do because they're losing the war of public opinion and they're losing the war in every court where you have a competent judge who actually takes a look at the facts. Moreover, in Romania, they brought about 30 or 31 women in to try to testify against these guys. And they told these women, if you don't assign yourself or become a part of the victim list here, at least initially, we're going to put you in as corroborators. We're going to put you in on this conspiracy. We're going to lock you up and throw away the key if you don't participate. Once those women have been given the chance, they've all spoken out and said, this is bunk. It is garbage. It is a setup. So we've been able to articulate to the court there and to the public that that case was built on fiction. It was built on nothing. So much so that we sued the wrongful accuser who initiated those charges out there in Palm Beach. And we've been litigating a case in Palm Beach for defamation for the past 3 years. That case is 6 months away from going to trial. If we go to trial and we win in that case, the narrative against them is over. It collapses.
This guy is very passionate about defending the Tate brothers as their lawyer. He believes in them. He's even saying there'll be religious ramifications for Donald Trump in the afterlife for not defending them. But also, he may be dropped out at some point because he cannot, as a US lawyer, legally represent the Tate brothers in the UK once they're extradited. So whether he'll still be on that team, but the Tate have to recruit other people in the UK at some point. Trump has had his own allegations with the Epstein files. He does not want things to resurface and him get accused again of defending the guy that had child images on his phone. That is going to be Donald Trump getting stirred into more controversy. So he just turned his nose up at this. And even before Andrew Tate was famous, he was a supporter of Donald Trump. He always has been, and he was expecting him to step in. Some said Andrew Tate spent years bragging about being close to the Trump family. Cut to Trump not lifting a finger to stop the Tate's extradition to the UK for prosecution.
Donald Trump Jr. and I speak to each other. When I met Donald Trump Jr., he said, if you're around on these dates, I might be free for half an hour. And I was in Romania. And I flew there and I spent X amount of thousands of dollars and it paid off. And I'm very close to the Trump family. I know them well, and I spoke to Barron after the incident, and I look forward to, once I am free, being with Donald Trump in person and reminding him that he's a bulletproof badass.
Is President Trump or the administration, do they have any plans to intervene in the extradition process for the Tate brothers?
No.
His lawyer also put up a quote of what Andrew Tate said about Trump. Do I think Trump is being pursued by the Matrix? Sir, I know. Everyone knows. The charges are garbage. The case is garbage. They exist for one reason: to stop him taking power. That's what Andrew Tate said. And they said AOC, a woman that could be running in 2028, will be the next president without the manosphere and Andrew Tate. They're trying to pressure the Trump family to help out a bit here, but it's not really going to work. A congresswoman actually released a statement. There is already pressure without Trump even saying that he's going to help Andrew Tate, but they're basically saying these are serious charges. Let's do a full investigation into Andrew Tate and his relationship with Trump. So there's people in political power in America that already are pressuring Donald Trump. Not only Donald Trump, it's also his family at risk with this investigation. They're saying, let's look into Barron Trump and Trump Jr. and their situations around having a relationship with Andrew Tate as well. Let's do a full investigation. Having associations to the US president is not a get out of jail free card for other countries, but you would think them in solitary confinement right now would get some sort of help. His lawyer spoke about them being solitary confinement and the brutal conditions they're facing in jail, but also said, I saw Andrew and Tristan today. Tristan is already down 6 to 8 pounds. I have to wait hours for a guard to walk by. I begged for food last night. He said, yes, I'll get you some. The guard never came back. I'm starving, Joe. Is this America?
We got the report. We saw the video. We saw Andrew wearing that beautiful purple shirt that he had on when the U.S. Marshals walked up towards him. And then all of a sudden, we saw the numbers coming out saying he is facing with 42 new charges himself. Tristan, 17, 59 criminal charges. And we saw that. The question I wanted to ask you is for U.S. Marshals to come. We know Andrew made some strong remarks towards the Governor DeSantis last time he was on with us. And there's not a relationship there. There's not a support there, whether it's the governor or Huthmeyer. But and even Huthmeyer, I think James Huthmeyer made a comment on Twitter about it as well. But this is U.S. Marshals. So for this to happen, is this a federal thing that's working with UK to help get Tate, or is it a state thing?
Oh, it's a federal thing. So anytime you have an extradition warrant going to an international country, it's exclusively going to be held within federal jurisdiction. That's just the way it works as a matter of law. Now, typically in these situations, when you have an ongoing relationship, for instance, a year or two ago when the guys first arrived here, there was this big announcement. DeSantis got on stage and talked about Andrew and Tristan as if they were not American citizens. They had egg on their face afterwards. But I reached out to the statewide prosecutor's office. I said, here, I'm available. I've worked with him over time. There was a criminal investigation that we dispensed with. And I said, hey, listen, if you ever get into a situation where you want the guys, or if there's a warrant and they need to surrender themselves, just let me know. Everybody knows. You just come to me, you let me know. They're not running from anything. They're two of the most famous guys in the world. We'll surrender. We'll come in. It'll be nice. It'll be quiet. It'll be easy. So what happened was a dog and pony show. This could have been avoided. They set these guys up to make it look like the worst possible PR stunt in the world. When they were arrested by the marshals, look, the marshals did their job. They were professional. They were courteous. They rolled up on the scene hard body, but that's what they do. They didn't take Andrew and Tristan's phones. They didn't take their electronics. Andrew had $2 million worth of jewelry on his neck. He was able to give it to one of his friends. They conducted themselves with honor. It is the people behind the scenes who set this up. It is the people behind the scenes who gave the media and the cameras. Like, why were there cameras there? How did everybody know? Because this only happens when it's a stitch-up job. This only happens when they're trying to use the process as the punishment. So to your question, Pat, the marshals being involved is standard operating procedure, but the way it went down is anything but.
Andrew Tate has a great relationship with the Trump family because he has them all on social media, but also on social media, he's been saying he wants this process over. He said that they're just dragging him through it. He's been begging at times for his extradition, and now it's come, but it's in not the way that he wants it, by sitting in prison waiting.
Where will you go next? So after Romania, if the second case is closed, the charges are dismissed, do you have to then go to the UK?
It's an interesting legal quagmire because as long as I have a case open within Romania, I do not have to go to the UK as far as I understand it. So if I, for example, had a case open in the UK, sorry, I had a case open in Romania, but my travel ban was removed, I would be able to live free because I don't get extradited because my case is not complete, even though I live as a free man. That may happen. I'm not sure.
Where will you go then? Would you return back to Dubai?
I would actually probably fly to England. My biggest concern about being extradited is the Wizz Air. I don't want to be on a Wizz Air. It's going to annoy me. So I'd rather take my own plane. I'll take my own jet and I'll fly to England. And I'm not afraid of these cowards. I'm not afraid of these people. I want the world to understand I'm not afraid of jail. I'm not afraid of when I decided to fight the Matrix, and now that everybody is based, now that everybody is telling the truth, now that everybody speaks freely, I feel like partially some people forget the monumental risk my brother and I took telling the truth back when you weren't allowed to tell the truth.
And this is where people get confused, saying Andrew Tate is antagonizing the UK government, begging them to come and get him, saying he'll fly back to England himself. But there is a conflict here between the two. He's saying he'll come back to the UK or he'll happily get extradited if he's not in prison first. So he's saying he wants to sit out, go to hotels, live his normal life, face his trial, and then if he's found guilty, go to prison. But he doesn't want to go to prison before that and be remanded, which they will remand him. They will be here as vulnerable prisoners, so they're going to be in solitary confinement or brutal conditions in UK prison, the harshest punishment there because they're vulnerable. So they'll be on a protected wing and they'll be sitting there for maybe 2 years, which they don't want to do.
We're definitely instrumental in the damage that was done to the censorship sphere. We are a huge part of that. And now we're still suffering the consequence of it. But I just want that to be remembered by people. But truthfully, when we decided to do that, we had already decided there was going to be monumental consequences. We knew we were going to end up in jail or dead. We had planned it. We wrote our wills. We understood that when we were doing what we were doing, you couldn't get away with it for long. So we've planned for jail for a very long time.
One thing I will say that has become kind of interesting in this case and why so many people are following it closely, no doubt he's one of the most cancelled men on the planet. X is a platform, but we've had this guy banned from banking. Certain banks do not want him to bank with him. Uber banned his account. Airbnb that he said he wasn't even using have stopped him setting up an account. So this is one of the most cancelled people on the planet, period. And if it wasn't for X, we may not have even heard for this guy for the last couple of years.
When I opened my phone, it said your Apple ID is signed out. Well, that's weird. Okay. Went to click Twitter. Your Twitter's signed out. Clicked WhatsApp. Your WhatsApp's been deleted. Clicked Instagram. Of course, signed out. Clicked Gmail. Signed out. They pressed a button, Jack, and wiped every single thing from my phone. The Apple ID itself, so I couldn't download apps, and every single application was logged out. Uber, Airbnb, Skype, any app on my phone, all of them were gone.
Coinbase?
Everything. Every single app. All of my bank accounts, Coinbase. I had a NatWest and a HSBC bank in England. They seized all that money. We'll talk about that soon. Everything was frozen. Everything was gone. My entire phone just became a brick.
Obviously, we're non-biased on this platform. We give a view from both sides, and many people have said he's done disturbing things. It needs to be investigated. That is 100% true. Deserves to go to trial and have to prove his innocence. But there is people in the world that have been less cancelled than Andrew Tate that have already been convicted, is their point. That's why they were saying about Hugh Edwards in the UK. He had photos of kids on his phone, the same charge as Andrew Tate. He got off with a slap on the rear.
Are you still with the BBC, Mircea?
Yes, I am.
I have a question for you about this man. He's one of your colleagues. He was caught sending child porn to children. Do you know him? Did you work with this man?
Why are you deflecting?
Did you work with this man?
Respond, Andrew?
No, it's very important because I'm actually the journalist. I'm the journalist here because I get more views than the BBC. This man was a pedophile. He worked for the BBC. Was he a colleague of yours? Was this guy a colleague of yours, Mircea? Because he worked for the BBC.
Your brother a question.
He was sending this image to children who are under 14.
Tristan.
He got 0 jail time. I think you need to look at your own organisation, my friend.
If Andrew Tate did a bunch of the offences like trafficking women, take advantage of them, and a lot of stuff he said on camera where he's admitted and confessed that he was brutal to women and treated them badly, they was going to come forward at some point. And he has to go to court, and it's up to the court to find him guilty of them charges despite videos online. Like I said in my previous videos online didn't work in Romania. We need actual victims. But the only thing that has surprised everyone about this case is just the level of cancellation that they imposed on him. It shows the power they have when they really want to get you out of here.
And I called a friend of mine from my girlfriend's phone. And I said, how the fuck can they do this? And he said, they put you on a terror watch list. They can only do that if you're on a terror watch list. And I was like, surely not terror. The fuck? I'll call you back. Here I film my final message.
All that's left for me to do is have a positive impact on the world. I don't think anybody truly wants to go down as a villain. Maybe some people do.
Once you're on a terror watch list, all bets are off. There's no more law. There's no more constitution. All that's gone. They can shoot you in the middle of the street. Police can come up and just shoot you and go, terrorist threat.
One thing you guys are going to get on my channel is a non-biased look at things. I'm going to put across Tate's side on what he said, and if a woman comes out tomorrow and there's CCTV of Tate doing something and it is in court, it will be shown on this channel. All the negative stuff and all the positive stuff will be here. But this situation has all become one big full circle moment, because Andrew Tate gets arrested in America and they say Donald Trump could step in and let's stop him getting extradited, and then Andrew Tate obviously is accusing the BBC of being worse in these tweets from jail. But Donald Trump's facing his own legal battle with the BBC where he's suing them in the UK right now, and it's ongoing. Literally 1 day ago, they spoke about the UK are trying to pressure Donald Trump to get hold of his phone to look at text messages for their lawsuit. So this is one big full circle moment between US and UK right now. If you followed the case from the start, you will know Andrew Tate versus the BBC has been a long-standing thing also.
Andrew, why did you inflame tensions after the Southport attacks?
What are you talking about? Sorry, what's your name? What's your name? Quickly.
My name's Will. I'm from the BBC.
Ah, you're a nobody.
Paid enough compliments. I'm a nobody, apparently. Okay.
Last thing I want to say on this case for now until the hearing is coming up, which I'll keep you guys updated on. If Andrew Tate is linked to the stuff he said on social media and there's clear victims that stand up and say, I was a victim of that, and he's sent down for a long time, that is completely fine. That will be justice served. But I don't want to see any Epstein type situations here where he doesn't make it to a trial and they try and do some tactics. I think that we can all agree on here. The truth needs to come to light in these situations, and Tate has constantly said he would never take his own life or do anything to himself.
That's why masculinity has been under such attack, and I came along and was the most Googled man in the world promoting masculinity, not realizing this was putting me at war against the matrix itself. I wasn't even political at that time. I didn't even talk about political parties. I just said to young men, stand up for yourself, go to the gym, stick for what you believe in, you're allowed an opinion, you matter too. And that was considered so dangerous, I ended up on a terror watch list and they wiped my entire phone. And the country that put me on a terror watch list, you want to guess?
US.
Incorrect, sir. England. Great Britain put me on a terror watch list. The Foreign Office, in the paperwork I later saw, which they wrote to the Romanians, said, he is an unchecked source of influence. And they believed I was going to cause a revolution.
One thing that is for sure, Andrew Tate done a lot of his childhood in the UK, and he will be coming back, and it will be crazy scenes if he does get extradited. But I'll keep you guys posted on that hearing. So we're going into a weekend now, and I think that hearing will be going ahead first thing on Monday. So look out for that video on the channel, and that'll be a very, very important hearing where we'll find out what is going to happen, hopefully, or it could get delayed again like we always see in these proceedings that get played out.